I've not even finished reading this book and I love it. I am loving it and I know you will love it. Mindset by Carol. I can't read the remaining names, so I'll stick there by Carol. By Carol. Oh my god. This book is amazing and I'll encourage anyone to read this book. Oh, gems, huh? It's not a hard read. It's not a so far it's, you know, sometimes when you meet these books on psychology or books that are written by quote unquote scientists, or you know, people who are in the medical field in one way or another, sometimes you are normally like, oh my god, the terms, it's going to be a hard read, you'll have to Google it after every 1 second. But so far I've not Googled anything. Although I want to Google one thing, there is one thing I want to Google, not because I've not understood, but because it has reminded me of something. Yeah, it has reminded me of something. I if I remember, I'll share what that thing is. But it has reminded me of something that I want to Google so that I can understand that thing better, but not because I didn't understand it. Easy read. I'll recommend this book to anyone. One of the things that that hooked my attention from the very beginning, of course, it's an opening line, and I know most books in their opening line, they can, you know, they can grip your attention, even they are meant to do that. But there is something, it's a very simple story, it's not even complicated. The author shares on how she had come up with a test for children, for children, and put them in an exam room to see. So the first test, or the first questions, were simple, and then the questions becomes complicated with time. Her intention was to see how people behave when they're faced with challenges. And one of the things, what amazed her is actually what amazed me, because she says she remembers there are these two children, I don't know if it was two or more, but there are these two children who, when they met that difficult question, they did not complain, they did not throw their hands in the air. One of them was like, yes, this is an opportunity for me to learn. Another person was like, yes, not person, a child. Another child was like, yes, I love challenges. Another child was like, oh, I love this. So she was shocked by how they were excited by challenges, how they were excited by failure. And then she shared something here. Should I read? Yeah, let me read whatever she says. Page 9. Not only weren't they discouraged by failure, they didn't even think they were failing. They thought they were learning. Now, how many adults do we need to hear this? Not only weren't they discouraged by failure, they didn't even think they were failing. They thought they were learning. Now, these children, although they did not understand the questions, although it was challenging for them, although perhaps they missed the test, instead of being like, oh man, I've missed this test, I don't know Nini, they were happy. They're like, oh, I don't know this, I can learn this. And it made me reflect, like, how many times do we go through a failure? And we are not like this. We're not like, oh, this, anyway, you don't see it as if you're learning, you see it like you've lost. But for these children, they didn't see it as a loss, they saw it as a gain. Mindset. You know, anytime we go through failure, most of us are like, oh, maybe you've invested in something, imekunywa maji, it has failed, you're like, oh, I've lost. Maybe you've done something, you've started a business, it has failed, you're like, oh my god, I've lost. And you're like, I can never be a business person, I can never be this, I can never be that. So you walk around thinking that you're a failure. Kumbe, if you turned it around, you'll see that it is not a failure. You are actually learning. You are learning maybe that business is not for you. You are learning maybe that's not how you do that thing. So it's all about mindset. From the name, mindset. I'm like, oh my god, this book, it can mindset. This is not, and this book, I believe, this book, it's called, how do I put it? It's famous. It's popular, it has been read. And I know there's a sometimes I'm like that when I see a book is popular, I'm like, cliche, sorry, I'm like, cliche, won't read it. But for this book, I'm like, although it's popular, it is popular, 2 million copies sold, it is popular, but people who love to read, it is popular. But I encourage you, even if you don't like to read this book. It is not a waste of time. It will challenge you in a way like, oh my, why do you think the way you think? Is that the best that you can believe of yourself? Mindset. I'm like, huh? If you've not read this book, come on now, join me and read this book. Read this book. Let me read something at the end. It's saying here, it is not always the people who start out the smartest who end up the smartest. It is not always the people who start out the smartest who end up the smartest. Now, the author has nothing against people who are smart, but the author is simply trying to challenge our mindset. We should not move around life thinking, if I have not done so well up to this point, I will never do well moving forward. Even if you're 50, I mean, as long as you're alive, you have a reason to believe that you can do better than what you've done. So that sentence is coming after a research. Is it a research after a discussion where they're saying that just because you have failed up to this point, using my own words, doesn't mean you'll fail moving forward. Or just because you've not attained a particular grade, it does not mean you will never achieve or amount to anything. So this is a must read. Mindset, I love it. It challenges us, the way we think. And this book, I'm not a scientist, so I cannot give like neither am I a psychologist, so I cannot give like a serious critique of this book. But as someone who is not in that field of psychology and all that stuff, I believe this book can help us really look at the way we view ourselves, look at the pressure we give children, the pressure we give to other people to succeed. Like, who said your ways of succeeding is the only way of succeeding? Really, the name Mindset, this is definitely worth your time. And if you want a copy of this book, soft copy, check out the link below. And I am sure you will be blessed as I have been blessed.